6:21 as we move along here on a Thursday evening. Thank you for tuning in to 1320 WILS. A new study looking at your health and something that you may not think is harming it may be doing just that, the act of simply sitting, which I think my health is going downhill just as I speak. To talk about that, we're joined by Dr. James. He is, of course, a doctor. The website, you can find him on, is diamondphysicians.com, diamondphysicians.com. Hey, Dr. James, great having you here.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I need to ask you now, are you on a business card commercial? Am I right to say that?
I am. If you've seen the Vistaprint commercial, then you've seen my face.
Yeah, because when I watch Bloomberg in the morning, they play that commercial, it seems, multiple times an hour. So have you gotten some popularity from that?
Oh, yeah. My LinkedIn account is nonstop, and we've got tons of hits on our website, and we are trying to produce a different healthcare delivery model. So we want to bring truly affordable healthcare to every U.S. citizen, and that's our goal.
Yeah, people come up to you and say, hey, you look familiar? Is that kind of thing?
I do. We were shopping at Best Buy a couple weekends ago, my wife and I actually had a hat on, and I had a diamond T-shirt on, and the guy was like, I've seen you somewhere before. And he actually got it without me saying anything. He's like, are you in a Vistaprint commercial? Right. And I was like, yeah, that's a good eye.
Hey, tell me this one last thing. How did they end up deciding to profile you in there?
Well, I actually pursued them. Vistaprint, I've been watching the commercials for a long time, and they had one a couple of years ago, Gardens by Tess. And I said, wow, that's a great way to promote a small business. How can I insert Diamond where Gardens by Tess was? And I called them and went through an interview process and made it to the final round, and they selected my business. I am a Vistaprint card user. I was a Vistaprint card user. So all those people you see on the commercials, they are real people. We get a lot of prank calls. I'm real. They're real people, and they actually use Vistaprint products. So. Yeah,
because your card actually is shown on screen with a phone number, so I'm guessing people can just pull it right from there.
Yeah, we get dozens of calls, and some of them are really funny. We get a lot of calls.
I'm talking to Dr. James. He's with diamondphysicians.com. So the study regarding sitting, first of all, what's the deal here? What is it that's sitting? Because we all sit so much. What is it that it does to us?
Well, we've always promoted physical activity, but now we need to promote decreased sedentary time. So sitting excessively, that's more than 3 hours a day, can increase your risk for heart disease, cancer, and diabetes.
What explains that?
Well, when you're not moving, you get decreased venous return to the heart. So when you're standing, your calves squeeze, and they help the vessels return blood flow to the heart, which decreases your blood pressure and helps with cardiac efficiency. And then you burn more calories when you're standing versus sitting as well. So your basal metabolic rate goes up, and those are two key factors for why sedentary lifestyle is so detrimental. I
mean, you're talking about over 3 hours a day. That sounds like every American that would be sitting.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. There was a study done in 2012 that found if the average American could reduce his or her sitting time to less than 3 hours a day, life expectancy would climb by 2 years. So you can add 2 years on your life by sitting for less than 3 hours a day.
Now, are you one of these people that sits for over 3 hours a day?
I'm standing right now on this interview.
Really? You see, you're going to get me to stand up here in a second.
I definitely try and break up. Obviously when I'm sitting with a client and discussing their medical issues, I'm sitting, but I'm moving back and forth from my exam room to my office, going over to our lab, running around. So it's pretty high paced over here. I rarely sit for more than 20, 30 minutes at a time.
How about when you get home though, right? Do you sit down and watch TV? At that point, do you start putting in some sitting time, or?
Well, I try and go to the gym after work. That's my typical routine. But when I do go home, I do relax a little bit. But again, I've been moving around all day, and I think it's more consistent fluid sitting. So you can break it up. You can sit down for 3 hours as long as it's not consecutive. And that's the thing, that the American lifestyle, we sit down for hours at a time, and that's what you want to avoid. So even if you can sit down and watch a sitcom for an hour, but stand up during commercial breaks, get the blood moving, and that's a great way to decrease your sedentary time.
Okay, now this is nothing to do with heart disease, but what about if you have a back issue? How much of a problem is this sitting deal?
Well, back issues can be very difficult and very challenging, but we've got all kinds of different items, different cushions you can utilize, different stabilizing things for chairs, and of course we've got even massage machines that you can put on the back of a chair. So we've got some things that you can try and help with your back.
I mean, does that bring on back problems, particularly sitting for these long periods of time?
It can, but typically, back problems are due to overweight, and that's the biggest thing I see with back issues is obesity and overweight issues, and that's the same thing with knees and arthritis and chronic conditions. More of a weight issue with the typical American lifestyle than a sedentary issue. But again, exercising and movement helps strengthen your core and keeps you strong and prevents injury as well.
Yeah, so you exercise, every day, 5 days a week you're going to the gym?
I try and go at least 3 days a week. Yeah, it depends on how rigorous my schedule is. Sometimes I can get it in the morning, but definitely on the weekends, my wife and I definitely go and work out. And
what keeps you motivated? What keeps you motivated? Is it simply the health quality to keep that in mind, or is it something else?
Well, I like to practice what I preach, and I'm a heart attack and stroke prevention specialist, so I can't walk around with a huge gut and claim to be a heart attack and stroke prevention specialist. So my rule is practice what you preach. So if I'm going to tell my clients to exercise 3 times weekly for at least 22 minutes, then I've got to do it myself, and that's the code that I live by.
I've talked to other doctors. One has said 80% of these heart attack, stroke issues is diet. Only 20 is really related to physical activity and exercise. Do you believe that's an accurate kind of assessment?
It depends. It depends on someone's genetics, because sometimes people are wonderful carbohydrate digesters, and they can get away with a lot of high fructose and carbs and still not have a terrible lipid profile and diabetes and things of that nature. So it's a combination of several things. As far as which one is more important, if you had to do one, then yes, I would lean more towards diet over exercise, but they're both extremely important to overall health. But if you can exercise all you want and still eat bad and still have terrible health. But if you eat really lean, and, low carb, high fiber, low fat, high protein, you can stay fit.
Are you a low carb person yourself?
Absolutely. I try and stay away from gluten. I'm a plant-based model. I like plant-based proteins versus animal-based proteins. I am from Texas, so I do love a nice filet, but it's very pro-inflammatory. You got to stay away from the red meat. You got to stay with your plants, your fruits and vegetables. If you can pick it from the ground or from a tree, and put it in your mouth and eat it. And that's my hard-fast rule.
Unfortunately, I wish we had more time, but wait, if you're talking about carbs, what about that sugar? If you're eating a lot of fruit and getting a lot of sugar in your system, is that a problem in your mind?
Natural fruits are totally fine. If you're eating an orange or an apple or even a pineapple that's very sweet, I have no problem with that. It's the refined sugars that you have to stay away from, the high fructose corn syrup, pastries, donuts, cookies, cake, and then simple carbohydrates like white bread. That a slice of white bread is digested the same way as a packet of sugar.
How happy are your patients when you give them this news?
They typically give me the side eye, but I have objective data, and I put their arteries up on our screen with our Diamond 360 program, and show them that they have cholesterol plaque, and when I look at their inflammatory markers, and we've got stuff that can tell you if you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke in the next 24 months, they listen to me, and they understand that this is life or death.
In 30 seconds, once you show them these images, how long does it take those images to change if they really change the diet?
We've seen major results in 6 months. I've seen cholesterol plaque disappear from someone's artery in 6 months.
That is incredible. That sounds like a miracle.
It's if you just eat the right way, and we have to use medication sometimes and exercise the way we've tailored, you can make huge strides in your health, and that's what we want everybody to do on our Diamond 360 program.
Dr. James online, it's diamondphysicians.com, diamondphysicians.com. Dr. James, thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show.
Here's Fox News.